Let me begin by saying, when it comes to the Threesome, it is not some hot, sexy, young adult film with naked bodies and a bunch of gyrating. It is a film that is definitely more so about, well, lots of laughter and certainly questioning the lead actor's logic in terms of how he decides to handle the two girls he got pregnant. But to summarize the movie, it has been months, maybe years since Connor met Olivia, and he has been pining for her. He's been wanting to date her ever since. But unfortunately for him, Olivia doesn't seem particularly interested. She's interested enough to keep him, having some form of hope, but I don't think at this point she really wanted to commit. At least that is until Greg, who is Connor's best friend, decides to direct Connor's attention to Jenny. She's a young woman who's going to graduate school, doesn't have the best dating history, but something between her and Connor just clicked to the point where Olivia picks up on it and she decides to integrate herself into it to the point where the three of them have a threesome. Fast forward a few days, and next thing you know, both Jenny and Olivia are talking about how they're pregnant now, and we watch throughout the film Connor trying to balance the responsibilities of him becoming a potential dad, mixed in with these two women who are very different, and trying to figure out what kind of relationship he can have with them, especially considering he still has romantic feelings for Olivia. So, get into the highlights. Unquestionably, this is a funny film with special attention that has to go to Jabuki Youngwhite, because he and sometimes was a saving grace as you watch Connor make the most asinine decisions when it comes to his relationship with Jenny and Olivia. So, between his commentary, him sometimes being the weirdest best friend / likely godfather to Connor's children, I would say that Jabuki Youngwhite is set up to be the type of scene stealer that we've seen many kind of eccentric, sometimes outlandish characters get to be, especially ones who don't necessarily need to be part of the film, but I'm just so glad that somebody cast them and wrote them these lines, or they improv'd, because without him, this might be a difficult film to get through. Which leads to the second highlight, which is Jenny. And I think, for me, the reason why Jenny is somebody that I particularly like is because she doesn't feel like she is the norm when it comes to romantic comedies like this. Jenny has a slight religious background. She's someone that is far nicer than you expect for a film like this, especially compared to Olivia. And she definitely plays, I don't want to call her a spoiler, but I definitely feel like she's an alternative route for Connor in a way that makes you want to root for her. And it makes you very much not torn between if he's going to pick Olivia or Jenny, but you're going to be very much on the Jenny train, to the point where anytime Connor is even for a moment contemplating possibly being with Olivia, you're going to question his decisions and not even feel bad for Connor because of how dumb he's being, but feel bad for Jenny because Connor could be such a good partner to her, but he's just dumb. And that leads to the on the fence topic, and that's just the fact that, for me anyway, I did not understand Connor's attraction to Olivia, especially for something long term. I get she's fun, she's definitely a little bit out there, but to build a life with her, to have children with her, as fun as she presented herself, she also presented a lot of issues that, even with them being close to 30, so of course you want to kind of give them some grace because they're still fairly young, getting their lives together, it just doesn't seem to be where Connor needed to be. He's somebody who was 30 years old, already thinking about settling down, and then you have somebody who's messing with a married man who doesn't seem to want commitment or anything serious in her life, and it just seemed like such a terrible match. Meanwhile, Jenny Yes, she's still in school, living with her parents, but you see a trajectory that made sense. You see a person who was very kind, granted, maybe a bit more religious than Kana is, but her parents seem to be not like ultra religious like Bible Belt, but definitely the type who believe in God, go to church, but at the same time aren't necessarily judgmental, especially to the point where they would possibly make Greg uncomfortable, who in this film is a gay man. Never mind gets married at the beginning of it too. But point of the matter is, it is increasingly frustrating to watch this film and see Connor pour so much into Olivia while at the same time you being given not any reason to understand why he's pointing his thoughts and attention in her direction, beyond the possibility that since Zoe Douche, who plays Olivia, is an executive producer, maybe she pushed things toward her character's way for whatever reason. But overall, when it comes to the threesome, undeniable, the comedy is good, but the drama of the romance, it's not going to be for everybody, and straight up, it could get to the point of becoming frustrating to the point that you're going to deeply, heavily sigh every time Connor pushes himself toward Olivia, whether stuff that has nothing to do with him being the father of her child, and you're just going to be so much on the Jenny train that you may find yourself in tears over the fact that both Jenny and Connor just may not get together because this man has been so thoroughly seduced by Olivia.